Hey everybody, Texas Stroke here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. We are back for part 39 of the Ram Revival. And true story, I'm kind of waiting on parts, and this fit in really well a long time ago, and it would fit in way better in just a couple of videos. But in an effort to keep things rolling, we're just going to showcase it here and kind of just wing it like we do. So what we have showcased our Hughes air gap. I've gotten quite a few questions about that. We've showcased a long time ago our Hypotech fuel rails, and this obviously ties in with that. This is from Hughes, so you can probably guess what it might be. The part number is 5504. That's right below there it tells you exactly what it is. This is their big gulp. It's going to flow 1007 cubic feet per minute. This is a Dodge throttle body, and then you'll see blue beside it. Now, when I purchased this, stock was low, and I just referenced their website because I couldn't remember what it cost, and apparently the blue is no longer available, so we'll highlight that when we get to it. But just sort of as a rough breakdown here, I'm getting more and more of you that are sort of kind of like doing the same thing, resurrecting your old truck, or you've just picked one up, or you're building it for your kid, whatever it might be. With a second-gen Ram, in terms of the throttle body, since that's what we're talking about here, there's essentially like 3 iterations. Technically, there's 5. If you're a V6 or a V10, this will not apply to you unless, of course, you're swapping in a 5.2 or 5.9 Magnum. So for those of us with the Magnum-based V8 engines, you've got kind of like 92 to 94, 95 to 96, and 96 and up. 96 and up is what pretty much everything modified is going to be based on. Number 1, they're more common. Number 2, there's just some advantages with like the geometry of your cables and stuff, and you can easily convert if you pick up some other cables, stuff you can harvest off of a donor truck or something. So that's what this is based off of, with Hughes boldly advertising the 1007 CFM. I'll tell you that's a little overkill for some stuff, like you're just going stock. But there is a lot of power to be had with the throttle body. Factory, I've seen stuff that a lot of this goes back to just me remembering crud I've read years ago on forums, but I think anywhere like 720, 750 CFM. Probably depends, on variables, all kinds of atmospheric conditions, the flow bench, the operator, all that stuff. But roughly in that range, I believe Hughes is going to claim like 740 for what's stock. And then typically when people modify these, they get a core, they blast it, which makes it look a lot better, and then they'll just kind of mill it. Sometimes they bore them out. But in the case of this one, it is kind of no expense spared and some additional stuff. Now, before I get on, and I'm going to reference this on social media for people, and probably on YouTube as well, doing a giveaway. It is going to be going down this Saturday. Some of you are just here for the Ram stuff. You care less about tools. A lot of the times, though, tool people, people have tools because they work on cars or they're into cars and they need tools. So if you're unaware, a lot of the other stuff I do on this channel, particularly the weekend uploads, it's usually tool related, whether it be a tool haul, a review, comparison, whatever it might be. I have gotten into German tools for a couple years now, and we will be hitting KC Tool Haul number 50. And the cool thing there, number 1, we're bringing in a lot of really neat stuff. I think people will enjoy that. But there's also going to be a giveaway. And in order to win, you just need to be subscribed here. Subscribe to KC Tool as well, since they're the people nice enough to actually do this. Not going to lie, I was hoping to get like 5 t-shirts that we could give away. Kind of spread the love, maybe some discontinued items or clearance stuff that never sells. Because when it's free, you can't really complain, right? Well, Colin over at KC Tool, he treated us to quite the upgrade. It's something I wouldn't have even thought of asking for, because I figured it would have been no, or like, oh, that'd be awesome, but too expensive. Let's do a couple t-shirts. And this was his idea. It's something, if you're wrenching on your Dodge truck, your second-gen Ram, your old Mopar, whatever it might be, this is something you could use literally every single time. It's super high quality. I think you're definitely going to enjoy it. And again, on Saturday's video, KC Tool Haul 50, just come in and leave the comment, hashtag KC Tool Haul 50, and you will be entered to win. So that's about all I've got there for you. Not going to waste more time, but I do, if you're here, you just as well know about that if you somehow didn't. So definitely take advantage of that. Check it out. And like I said, it's something, if you win it, I believe you're going to really like it. And it's something that you can use all the time when you're working on your truck. So that's all the hints I'm going to give you, sadly. And without further ado, we're going to bust into the box, right? So came packed quite nicely. I haven't looked at this thing in a long time. Let's see, what else did we get? Okay. So like I said, bear with me because I've had this out, but it was many, many months ago. So we get some panhead bolts. The cool thing here, if you're going all out, and you've got like a traditional hex head bolt, right? And you've got air coming in, whatever your intake may be, whether it's stock, modified, homemade, anything, you can't argue with, the dynamics of air. And essentially this panhead bolt with a hex head insert is going to tighten down, do the same job, take the same levels of torque, but it's just going to allow air to pass easier across the bore of the throttle body, or the body of the throttle body into the bore, into your intake, into the engine to make more power. So will you ever see any significant gains on this? Maybe if you were like trying to just pick up, like minuscule gains in the quarter mile, with like really, really high horsepower. With these trucks and their weight, unless you're again at some crazy power level and low weight, I'm not sure it's going to matter, but it is regardless a super nice thought, and it gives you new hardware. Maybe you break a bolt, maybe you're getting the truck and it didn't have the intake on it, whatever it might be, you now have fasteners for the throttle body. And I cannot argue with that. This right here, if it'll focus, Hughes 3324 throttle body gasket base, 0.030 thick. Now, something Hughes does, which is kind of nice, we're going to come in here, and number one, I like their packaging, but number two, aside from it being in Comic Sans, which I don't knock it, I actually think that's a lot of times an easier on the eye font to read. Personal preference there. But what's cool is they actually have colored instructions, right? So big deal. They walk you through the installation, they walk you through kind of some adjustments you can do for additional performance gains. There's your throttle position sensor. They kind of got like the old school, I mean, right now a lot of this knowledge that was on forums easily available, a bunch of those forums are like dead or hard to come by, and like you could Google search it and you remember seeing it, like just 4 or 5 years ago. You can't find it. The user, if they had pictures and they were at the time, you got to understand the glory days of forums, everyone was using photo bucket. Photo bucket's thrown a fit a couple years ago. So if a guy took the time to do like this 3-thread walkthrough with everything where like anyone could walk up and tackle it, the pictures might be gone. So this is really, really nice to have. And we're going to leave it at that. So, nut in the bolt of it though, like your PCM, if you're doing this especially to a stock truck, you're going to need like a, 500 mile, 200, 500 mile break-in for the PCM to learn. But we're going to go ahead and unwrap this bad boy. Now, if you want to see a side-by-side comparison, we will have that in another one. But first thing you're going to note, the throttle blades, they don't quite look normal. One, they look a lot bigger if you're used to handling these. But number two, they're blue. And Hughes did, I guess, a limited run of these. And for what I'm doing in my color schemes, it's perfect. You did have to pay a little bit more. I want to say these run $249. So the Big Gulp is not exactly your cheapest option for an aftermarket throttle body, but it does tend to outflow the competition. As in my opinion, it's done very well. You can see that machining there. It's radiused. It's not like they just came in, and just bored it out. It's actually got smooth entries here. It's sort of like if you do anything with carburetors and you pay attention to that sort of thing. If you think air would flow better, over something smooth and polished, you would be correct. If you think air would flow better with a smooth radius like this versus a 90-degree bend, you would be correct. Again, it's little things like that you can sort of add up. Now, one thing Hughes does that sort of upsets some people is they hit you with a core charge right off the bat. The core charge is $100. Caveat being, and why it's really not a big deal to me, for 99% of people, okay, I'm that like weird 1%, but for 99% of people, if you want this Big Gulp from Hughes, you no longer have any use at all for your old throttle body. right? So you, instead of just throwing it away or selling it for 20 bucks, which, let's be honest, you're not going to sell your used factory throttle body. I don't care if it's pristine and you include the sensors, you're not going to get $100. You know, you're maybe going to get 50 if a guy really, really values the sensors. If you have aftermarket sensors, people, no. You know, it needs to be the factory sensors, preferably new from Chrysler, because otherwise people don't know that they're really, you know, functional. Some aftermarket sensors are junk. That's why you always try to do Chrysler-specific stuff if it's available, which is getting harder to find. But the bottom line is, getting $100 back for your throttle body is a really good deal. And you have to realize then that keeps this at the $250 price point. Bunch of the throttle body manufacturers have disappeared. Not manufacturers, but like modifiers. There used to be quite a few back in the day. You got to understand now, you know, like my truck is an 01, so it's at the 20-year mark. You know, typically when people are modifying these, you've got two rounds. You've got like the original owner that's like, oh man, this is the greatest thing ever, I got to do everything in the book to my truck. And then you've got, you know, kind of people that might wind up with the truck 5 to, in this case, 20 years later, right? And they're sitting there and it's like, man, it's a really nice truck, I want to do the bolt-ons to it, get it running good, or I've got to rebuild it, I'm going to go all out. And that's really kind of where things fall. So a bunch of the throttle bodies, like if you're able to go on maybe like one of the Dakota RT forums and you see all these, you know, like manufacturers or companies listed, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go buy theirs. Everyone seemed to love it. You might have a really hard time finding that company or any trace of that company that it existed outside of those forum threads. Lucky for us, Hughes is still here. And Hypotech's still around. Flying Ryan, which, you know, he's pretty well known for the Magnum tunes, he's got some throttle bodies he deals with. When I brought this in, he was actually totally sold out. And that's the thing, as the number of vendors for Magnum parts has gone down, the demand has never really been super high. But at the same time, you can easily have the small demand surpass the supply. So that was sort of the situation. I think he'd had a pretty big drought there. He's got them back in stock now. Holly for a while was selling like brand new billet units and stuff. You can find those on forums or eBay from time to time. But for me, I thought, you know what, I'm buying some stuff from Hughes anyway. It's been tested, it should work. And honestly, I didn't find anything else that flowed more air. And in the case of our stroker, that's kind of what we need to do, is flow a lot of air. So I paid, I honestly don't remember, it was probably around $10, maybe $20 to get the blue throttle blades, which I know a lot of you would never do. Some of you will hate it, some of you will say, man, that's really cool, but I wish it was insert your favorite color or what matches your build. And in my opinion, although no one would really ever see this, since I am doing a video series on it, I get to showcase it and it looks awesome in front of the camera. Every time I'm in the truck, I'm going to know, like, oh, I've got the blue throttle blades. And, you know, I could justify the 10 to 20 bucks. So, the color of the throttle blades has absolutely no bearing on performance or functionality. It just honestly looks better, in my opinion. And again, fits my build. So, if I was ever at a show or something and people recognize the truck, or they're like, you know, hey man, you know, your truck sounds different, what's the deal? I can come in, and if they're super geeked about this stuff, I could conceivably pull the intake and they'd be like, whoa, you got the big Gulp with the blue throttle blades, you know, can't get those anymore. Which, like I said, when I bought this, they were still available, obviously. Now, not on the site. If you're interested in one, maybe email Hughes, see if they do a limited run, or, you know, get a one-off for you. I'm sure it would cost a little bit more, but those of you familiar with these throttle bodies, you can easily recognize this is a factory unit. And again, there we are opening up. Note, it's a pretty good job where you're seeing what you think is not blue. It's not. That would be the you know, shaft that runs across. But even here on the flip side, you can see it's a full 360, so it was obviously properly coated, right? The whole blade, not just like, you know, sprayed on or something cheesy, which would create big problems, by the way. But I gotta say, I am pretty happy with this thing. And again, super, super clean. I've bought one throttle body off of eBay because, again, the reason I don't want to send my factory one back, okay, is because in case of what I'm doing specifically, the 5.2 was totally fine. It needs freeze plugs and a water pump, which is super minor. Now, the issue is doing the freeze plugs, it's easier to pull the engine, hence why we built a 408 stroker, right? So, yeah, it snowballs a little bit, I admit, but The bottom line is I've got a perfectly good 5.2 low mile 5.2 Magnum over there. I want to keep and retain my factory throttle body. Another thing with sensors, I don't care if they're from a buddy that swears it was running good. I don't care if it's from your truck. These factory sensors, if you still have one or you paid to get one, which they cost a lot more than the junk you can get from a local parts store, right? When you start moving them around from throttle body to throttle body, it kind of ticks them off. You know, these are like 20, 25-year-old electronics at this point. And it could be perfectly fine, zero issues. I could take you on a drive, you would love it, and I would pull the throttle body and sell it to you. And then you've got like your Flying Ryan throttle body that's, you know, perfectly in tune and functional. You pull my sensors out that you knew were working perfectly in my truck and you put them in your throttle body, they're grumpy, they're upset. And then it's a weird deal the way the electronics go. But again, if you can get factory sensors, do that. If you can still purchase them, I realize you're going to pay more. Like you might be able to, you know, pick them up dirt cheap, you know, $20, $19.95. If you can procure the factory stuff, it's going to cost more. But talk to the people that use the cheap stuff and go through 5 or 6 before they find one that works, and it only worked for 3 months and they're back, you know, warranting it out. Yeah, it might have a warranty, but is it worth your time to constantly have to take your truck apart and not have it run good and be inconvenienced? My opinion, stuff like this, until the aftermarket gets their stuff together, their ducks in a row, and puts out a quality product, factory sensors are the way to do it. Like I said, though, they're sadly getting harder and harder to find. So in my case, though, that factory throttle body, I'm not taking sensors out of it to harvest and plug in here. Even though they're factory, they're low mile, I know their entire history, and I think they would work fine here. I want to keep that intact. If I wind up with a sweetheart deal on another truck that needs a motor, I've got the 5.2 right there, and it would be turnkey ready to run. You know, throw a water pump, the freeze plugs, which are easy to access now, and I keep my throttle body intact. So what I did, I've picked up, as best I can, factory sensors. And then you have a problem with some of the hardware. I will tell you about that in a later video. But I've also bought some eBay throttle bodies so I can harvest some stuff off of those. And then conceivably, I could ship that back to Hughes. I don't care about that throttle body. I can send it back to Hughes and get $100 coming my way. You know, or just tell them, hey, you know, keep that. Here's some more crud I want for the truck or the Charger or whatever. It's $250 is the price. Sadly, if you've fallen in love with this amazing aesthetic of just the blasted and polished aluminum with the blue anodized throttle plate, which I absolutely love personally, sadly it's not available. You know, maybe you'll get lucky, you'll find one. If you really want it, again, like I said, give them a call, shoot them an email, what works best for you. But otherwise, it would just be standard throttle blade. You'd be looking at $250, core charge of $100. If you've already got your throttle blade, you know, your throttle body, I should say, tell them, hey, it's in the mail. Again, for the early second-gen Rams, you will wind up having to convert. The best way to tell is here, you know, with your connection points, the throttle arms and everything. I think Hughes actually has a graphic on it for you. But again, anything that they sell should be the 96 to 03 style. So if you got a 95 or a 94 Ram and you've got the situation where you pick this up, you're probably going to need, I think you can actually pull it off with just a throttle cable. I'm not sure if there's any brackets you have to change. You could probably track those down pretty easy. But I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, you will be seeing this shortly when we get to throw it and the rest of the induction on top of the 408. So with that said, this is my throttle body. It's been here a long time, long enough for them to totally sell out of that. But we will get it installed soon. Cannot wait to have it on the motor. Can't wait to have the motor back in the truck. Like I said, what I was in the middle of, I'm sort of just waiting for parts. And 1 second. But yeah, that's about that. Again, my apologies, got kind of interrupted by a phone call here. I'm going to have to hit in, but wanted to have something to keep the videos going for you. And again, as soon as some parts trickle in and some prices come down on something else, hopefully we can move on in some other directions. But this is Hughes Big Gulp. I think it's going to be a really nice addition for the 408 Magnum. And like I said, let me know if you're running these, if you've run this thing for years, whether it's on a Hughes air gap, whether it's on an M1, whether you've got this plopped on top of the kegger and you've done some like bolt-on stuff to your truck. Leave comments, let people know how it has performed for you, if it was like an instant seat of the pants deal, if you picked up any power, especially if you've got, time slips or dyno numbers, which again, a lot of times that's just missing information, when we're dealing with second-gen trucks in general, I have to say. But nonetheless, first-hand feedback is always appreciated. It will help people out. 250 is what you're going to be looking at. 100 for the core charge. Again, send your throttle body back. You get that $100 back, so 250, kind of all-inclusive. You get the hardware, which is, again, super nice, the panhead stuff. And then you also get the throttle body gasket, really nice instructions, and it should make for a great install experience. So like I said, all the sensors, a comparison versus the factory throttle body on my truck and the stuff I brought in on eBay, which people never clean. Even though if they did, they could probably squeak out a few more bucks. We'll have those videos coming up, but I've got some stuff I got to go take care of. My apologies there. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. Again, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, I will catch you back here next week for more action from the Ram Revival. And do not forget, in case you're not part of the tool side of the channel, this Saturday, March 6th, we got KC Tool Haul 50. There will be the giveaway. Leave a comment, hashtag KC Tool Haul 50. Make sure you're subscribed here. Subscribe to KC Tool on YouTube as well, and you will be entered to win something super awesome, which I know you can get a ton of use out of. So with that said, thanks for watching. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.